January 2021, the business is making $10,000 a month. I'm barely taking anything out of that. This January 2022, the business makes $57,000 a month. Obviously, I make a lot more out of that. But guess what? I worked a lot less than what I did in January 2021. I worked the least amount I ever have, but I'm paying myself now the most I've ever had. End of April, May, I will have doubled my 9-to-5 salary. I'm going to pay myself double my salary to work maybe 2 hours a week.
Yo, you're listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Kamunya here. We are back with episode 130, I hope, of the Money Monopolizers podcast. And I'm here with my co-host, Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing excellent. So I had to look at the date to see like when this will be released, if it is episode 130. And this will actually be the last day of March.
Really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that means that Q1 will be ending for this year. That's crazy. Time is flying. So, but no, I'm doing excellent. I'm got plenty to get into today, but no, life is very good right now. So very happy with life. I'm very grateful more than anything else that I think this is everything that's happened over the past couple of weeks has really been God's plan.
Oh yeah.
I can't say it's so much of myself. Like I believe firmly in the quote, faith without works is dead. So you had to have the faith, but you have to also have to do the work that's required. And then the faith that you have, when God would pretty much take the rest of the way through. So plenty to get into today, but I just in a very grateful mood.
That was a very nice, what is it called? I forgot what the word is, but I know we got a lot to get into today. So, we have a great episode for y'all this week to end out Q1. Like you said, there's been so much going on, and I'm excited to talk about it today, and I'm excited for where everything else is going. So not even going to bore y'all with any of that. We're going to get right into it. But of course I do want to say before we get into that about the reviews. I feel like I'm making sales pitches now every time I talk about this. But I think right now we're sitting at like 291, 292.
The top, I guess the final single, we're in single digits now. Like single digits that's coming through. So, and
hopefully maybe by this time the releases we'll have hit it.
Hopefully so, yeah,
that's 2
to be honest. Y'all got plenty of time to get it done. Let's get it.
Yeah, if we haven't hit it by now, I'm honestly going to be a little disappointed. But, shout out to everybody that has left a review on the podcast. It has definitely, we appreciate it. So many reviews came, in March and also in February. Shout out to my boy, Ethan Daddy 0913. I don't know why that's your name, but shout out to him because I know he left a review. Actually, I saw this review. He left one once. And then I think he heard another episode and then he left another review, but it just replaced his old one. Yeah. Because I seen this name come up a couple times. So shout out to you, Ethan Daddy, Jordan, Lauren, Stewart. Shout out Stewart. I know Stewart. Shout out Brian Robertson, infamous CPA. Shout out to Boost. We got a lot of people. A lot of people got aliases on here, so I don't know. But shout out to everybody, man. We appreciate the reviews. They help a ton. Like I said, the goal is to get to 300 by our 3-year anniversary, which is pulling up here in 2 months now.
Yes, sir.
And we should definitely, if we don't get that by then we're pretty trash for that. Well, I don't know if we are. But and shout out to even Glamour Girl, man. Even though you reviewed the wrong podcast,
she said be consistent.
Yeah, like, she said to be more consistent. But she gave us 5 stars. Shout out to you. I mean you could have commented on anything, but consistency is, I feel like that's, we
ain't missed an episode since last
January 14th,
2021.
Yeah, January 14th, 2021 was the last podcast list a week from us. So I think that was the wrong podcast, but thanks for the 5 stars anyway. So if you enjoying the show, give us a review, help us out. If you watching on YouTube, definitely subscribe and comment on the video as well. So shout out to you if you are watching that. But like I said, we got a lot to get into. Before we get into that, one thing I wanted to talk about. Actually, I'll save it for the business updates. Let's get into that.
It's time. Keep them posted.
we're ending Q1 of 2022, and this year is flying by. I mean, that's already a quarter of the year is already moved on, and at this point, it's kind of like if you haven't done anything in the last 3 months of this year, then it's like, what are you waiting on, right? The year is really pushing along. So how have things been for you in your business? I know a lot has happened for you. I know that's not the case for you in the sense of like nothing has happened. So tell us what has been going on. I know you gotta unleash.
So I got y'all this time. Hello, welcome everyone. So my name is Marlon, and I run a rental car business. So we rent out cars to people. So we being me and my dad, we started this business back in August of 2020 with one car, scaled our fleet up until I think we acquired 12 in 2021. I think we ended up with 10, but now we're on a goal to get to over 100 cars this year in 2022. With that being said, we went from having 10 cars in February to having 21 currently right now. So this is ending March. Really, this is like midway through March when we were recording, but I know we have 2 more on the way that's probably gonna be coming today. Well, probably doing an episode, to be honest. And then another one coming in on Monday, and it's continue. It's like a snowball now to where we're able to acquire cars so quickly. So, and it's crazy to just, one of the biggest things I learned from this week is that you have to have a good vision for where you want to go. That's the number one thing. People will buy into your vision before you even get there. So what you're doing is looking for that one person. So just to give a brief summary, like how this week has been, hectic. Yeah. Reason I say that is because we had a choice. Like, and this is a choice for a lot of entrepreneurs. I really want to teach about this even during episode 2, but we had a choice to either bring on people or bring in more business, and you had to choose between the two. Like, do you want to bring in the business so you can pay the people, or do you want to bring in the people and prepare them for the new business that's upcoming?
Oh, you're talking about staff.
Yeah, so people being staff.
Okay.
Like, so when you hire people, like the entrepreneur's most their number one objection to hiring people is that I don't have the money to pay them. What you really need is a good vision, more so than anything else. Have a vision for where you want your company to go, and be able to portray that to them. This is one thing I've learned from this week, because even us portraying our vision to our investors, that's why they're like, we have one investor that has lended us 10 cars already. I think I told you about them a couple of months ago that they were going to do that. They are trying to run it up. We probably don't even need another investor. Like, to be honest, their goal is to be able to cash flow 100,000 to themselves, not even for the business that's generating. This is per month.
Per month.
Yes, they wanted to cash flow that per month, and so they're like, bro, listen, y'all finna get some cars.
Right.
So the cars are not even an issue. I believe firmly that we can get to the 100 cars, probably even faster than what I initially anticipated. The goal now is to make sure we have the structure that's going to be able to encompass all of it. And I think we've been building that out a lot. So that, like, a lot of things such as the offline presence. I would say that by the time this releases, we have the entire offline presence is going to be built out, because we just officially got it set up last week or this past week, to where now we can start accepting payments on it. So now everything is built out. The website's built out. Payment processing is built out. Now we're going to be getting all of the back end stuff, like all the messaging, to make sure that the customer service is still there from beginning to end. That's all that's left to do, and it's going to be completely ready for like full on launch. And so by the time this releases, y'all can go check it out. Website is called Rebus Shift. So REBUSHIFT. So Rebus Shift is with one S. RebusShift.com. Check it out. That's our website. You can actually book directly with us now, as opposed to booking through Turo. So between those two things, that's like the main thing that's been happening. But the last thing I want to say, my dad went out of town this week. This is the biggest thing for me this week. What I learned that I want to tell every entrepreneur that's listening.
Because he's in business with you.
Yes, so I want to recap that. My dad went out of town this week, and he is like my main business partner. So both of us, like, we run a business together, but he primarily does most of the handling of all of the day-to-day with the cars itself.
Operations.
Like all the daily operations, like cleaning the cars, like going and drop them off and stuff. So I took on all of that role this week. One thing I learned is that the more physical work I do, the less money we will make. We made a lot of money, but we could make so much more if I'm not doing the physical labor. And I want everybody that's listening to take on that same philosophy as beginning entrepreneurs. early on believe that the more physical labor that you do, the less money you will make. I'm gonna get way more into that later on, but I pretty much did all of the physical labor when it comes to dropping off cars, getting them clean, making sure that they get posted onto Turo and all of that. So we were able to be fully operational. We made plenty of money this week, but there's so much more that could be made on top of that. I really want to not take up all the business update time, but that is my business updates for the week. There's plenty to talk about. We can get into more later on, but
yeah.
How have you been overall this week?
Oh man, that was a lot. And I know we're going to get into a lot of it, but yeah, that it's crazy to see the growth over the past, year and a half.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole concept of like, faith, and just understanding that where you're going and just knowing God is going to get you there and you just need to put in the work.
Yep.
That is a powerful concept. And I don't even mean to, get spiritual, but that is just a straight up, spiritual philosophy. Yeah. That if you follow, I've seen a lot of good things in my life because of it. And I'm sure you have too. And you will continue to see it. So that's real, man. That's real. But yeah, for me, business has been going well as also, for me, the biggest thing, last time we recorded, what did I tell you?
Oh yeah, I love this last conversation we had. You said last time, by the time you come back, you're going to have a way that you're going to be able to grow your business without you having to be involved in it.
Exactly, because that was the biggest thing for me. The business, I don't want to be involved in the day-to-day as much. Kind of how you were saying about the day-to-day, where it's like, for you personally, if you're more so involved in all that stuff that is like, the manual stuff, the business doesn't really go anywhere. Correct. Right, the business isn't growing. You're not going to continue. You can make money, but you're not going to make more money.
Correct. Oh,
so
I can't wait to talk about that.
That is kind of where I was in the business too, where it's like last time I don't know what episode it was. I think it was maybe 127, Pivot or Persevere.
Yeah.
When we talked about that whole conversation, which that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's like actually it was 2 weeks ago when we recorded that.
Yeah, we recorded
in San Antonio.
Yep.
So that was 2 weeks ago. And I said 2 weeks ago, I said, look, the next time we record, I will have systems built out in my business. So for those that are new to the show, the business I'm in is because I actually saw we did get a lot of new listeners yesterday.
Yeah, it's from the last episode.
Yeah. So shout out to all the new listeners.
Really all last week, it was pretty different. Like it was a little higher than usual.
Yeah.
Day, so that was nice to see.
Yeah, I think we're going to be close to, 4,000 a week here soon.
Yep.
So looking forward to that. But, yeah, so for everyone that is new, I do have a cleaning business where I essentially match cleaners with people that need their house cleaned. And essentially my platform is the middleman, and I take a cut from the middle. And so started that in August 2020, built it out to the point it is today. We did in the first year 400,000 last year, and the goal this year is to get it to $1 million. And we're definitely pushing towards that. But one thing that I had meant, going back to what I was saying earlier, it was kind of interesting how, for me, the business, I was in the day-to-day in terms of like, I wasn't handling like, the bookings and stuff, but the business wasn't going to grow without me. Right. I mean, the business was operating, but it was not, how should I say this? If I wasn't the one like forcing the growth or putting my effort and focus into growing the business was not going to grow.
Correct.
And I'm a big advocate. I feel like I speak of this so much, but I'm a huge advocate of having a sellable business, a business that is an asset. Because a lot of people just start businesses that are you just start it because you just want to make money, but you can never exit it. It's just going to die out, right? But I want to make sure mine remains an asset, whether I'm there or not. And so not in the sense of like I'm dying, but like, well, even if that was the case, yeah, it should still remain viable. But just in the sense of like, if I don't want to do it at any point in the future, I can kind of, sell it for a premium. That could be some foreshadowing for y'all. But yeah, that is something that I had kind of came to a revelation about 2 weeks ago when we recorded. And I said, the next time we record, I will have systems in place to be able to grow the business without me. Specifically, that was mainly geared towards hiring.
Yeah.
Because that is the, I would say the bottleneck of growing the business is hiring.
You just have to be able to get more people, bring more people on.
Right. Because I can't, like you were saying before, you believe you can get cars. I believe there's plenty of customers out there.
Man.
Customers ain't an issue.
That's it.
It's plenty of money. People want to give you money. Mm-hmm. It's just about, can you handle it? Do you have systems that can handle it? There's so much money out there that is ready to flow into your business bank account. And you just gotta if you don't have this, it's kind of like, shout out to Mark Golden. I love the analogy, and it's obviously a Bible verse as well, Matthew 9, when he says, like, Jesus says is, you can't put new wine into old wineskins. It's the same concept, right? Because the wineskins, they're already stretched out. You put new wine in there, it's gonna rip the wineskins, and then your wine's gonna spill. Now you lost all the wine. And I look at it as the same way here, because I know that to me, the wineskins is my systems, and the new wine is the business that's coming in. My systems were not yet built they're great systems, but they had to be even more, bolstered to get to the point where now the business can continue to grow. Now those systems will allow more money to come in, those new systems. And so that's what I was really building out. And I know that was just a long analogy, but that's what I was building out over the last couple of weeks. And so now it's crazy to see, like, but this week, I think we hired maybe four, I honestly don't know. It was 4, 5, or 6 cleaners. And I didn't interview any of them.
That's beautiful.
I didn't have to interview any of them. I think they probably interviewed, I would say they probably interviewed probably 20 to 30.
Wow.
They probably interviewed 20 to 30, and we hired 4 to 6. Now, I don't know how many of those 46 could end up being good. I'll venture to say out of that, we get 2 good ones.
So are these people that are already in the business that's doing the hiring now?
Yes.
Okay.
So these are people that my staff that I already had.
So they kind of got like a promotion in a way, like where they got more work to do.
Yeah, you got a promotion. Yeah. But that's the thing. Now that because the thing is here, this is my first staff member. So for them, here's the thing. I want to grow them into more mature roles, so that now, cool, I can promote you. You don't have to do what y'all started doing.
Right here.
And now when I hire new people, y'all train the new people in what y'all used to do. Right. And
they're familiar with everything in the system already. So it's way easier to train somebody just to do a little bit extra rather than train them on doing their role and knowing what everybody else is doing too.
Exactly. And so the premise is that they continue to move up.
Right.
And they're always training the person that's moving into that new role that they used to be in. And then the previous people train the previous people into the new role. So it's always going to be a cycle. And that is the system. Those are the systems I talk about. When y'all hear me beat up systems and how much I talk about systems, this is the reason. It's because you can build something so phenomenal that it becomes a juggernaut. And this is why people, here we go. Actually, I'm going to cook with this.
Yeah, because come on, this episode finna be, just skip the business. We just in the show now.
Business update's over, right? Because here's the thing. A lot of people, they talk so much, and this is subjective, but I feel like this truly. A lot of people talk about, like, entrepreneurship, you got to work 100 hours, all this whole, grind. That's what you're supposed to do, 70, 80 hours. And I get it to a degree when you're starting off. But even to that degree, I never have been a fan of that. And I'm never going to be a fan of that, because the thing is, I had never had to do that in my business.
You did not. I know that's a big testament to you. You never did. Because you started off with the right mentality from the very beginning.
Dude, the most I ever worked in my business was 10 hours a week.
Answering the phone just all the time. Be on demand for answering the phone. That was I was thinking back last year. I was like, when did he do the most work? Before you hired your first ops manager that was answering the phone calls, that was the most work you were doing.
That was last summer.
Yep.
Right before I hired her. That was and I wouldn't even say it was 10 hours. It was probably, because I'm taking calls, whatever, but it's like the calls of 5 minutes. I might take 40 a week, 50 a week, maybe. That's not even 10 hours. Right. So that's the thing. Like, I never was working like a dog in my business because I always had the systems. Even when it was just me, I still had the systems. So it's like, when I brought people on, I was out completely.
Right.
And so it never was a thing. Like, cool. A lot of people say, okay, well, if it's just you have to work a lot. No, you don't. Because here's the thing. Everything I did in my business when it was just me, it was so documented that it was almost like clockwork. I was doing things. I didn't even have to think about it. I was doing it subconsciously. Literally everything. If any move, any button I clicked was already documented. It was already processed. I didn't have to think about anything. It was very easy. And so that whole concept of, like, working 100 hours, I don't believe in that, because if you have the systems, you will not have to work that hard in your business. Man. Your business will work and continue to grow without you. And so that was my biggest revelation from that when we talked about 2 weeks ago. It's like, I need those systems that are going to grow the business. And so I spent this entire last 2 weeks, I finished them. It only took me a week to do.
Right.
And I finished them. Didn't even take me that long because it's like I already knew exactly what it was. I just had to train the people. Mm-hmm. This is what you do. And so now all I do now is really, and I'm gonna stop doing this at some point. But all I do is, they show me who they interviewed. They show me their answers to the questions. And I let them use their judgment based on like, if you want to let that person go or whatever, cool, it's up to you. But I just give them a recommendation and then I move on. But at some point, it's like, I'm not even going to be doing that. And so that is, to me, the reason most people, they work so much in their business because you don't have systems in your business. You don't have any processes that can automate things, right? It's if you enjoy working, cool, but I don't want to do that. Okay. I never wanted to do that. And that's why, for me, like you were saying before, I'm going to continue to make more money and work less.
Correct.
And that is the way you properly build a business. So,
man, that was excellent right there. So I want to revisit this same conversation that I just said with same phrase I said earlier. The more physical labor you do in your business, the less money you will make. I'm looking long term. I'm not talking about short term. Yes, short term you may make the money, but what do you give? This is opportunity cost for doing the physical labor. Well, one thing I'll give a great testament to you with is from the very, very beginning, from the very first cleaning, you were not cleaning the house.
No.
Reason because you actually. So what you did, you didn't even have the money yet to pay the people more than likely, unless you paid out your personal pocket. You said, I don't want to do any physical labor. Therefore, I'm going to hire somebody from the very beginning. You're going to get paid the majority. Like with you being them, they're going to get paid the majority of whatever they make, whatever money gets brought in. You're probably taking little to none.
I didn't make anything
because of the fact that you got to pay just to make sure you're marketing. You got to pay to make sure that the website is up. You got to pay to make sure that they're taken care of, and you may get charged back. So you're not taking anything out the business. Everything is going to the people to run it for you. Yep. So you're actually valuing your time way more than the value in the money. The problem is that most people value money more than time, which is why they always make less of it. Therefore, what I'm saying is that when you are running a business that you are trying to make a true business out of, learn how to delegate to other people from the very beginning. Like most people are waiting until they get a certain amount of money before they start hiring people out. One thing that I said earlier, I'm gonna revisit now. We had a decision to make. Do we want to wait to bring in the people, or do we want to make more money then bring in the people? What do we learn from this week? What I learned very much so, and I'm glad I had to go through it so now I can teach it. What I learned is that bring on the people. What you should be doing instead is crafting a vision, crafting a mission statement for your company, crafting what do you want your employees to like? What's the company culture going to be like? What is how are you going to raise them through the ranks? Like you said with the ops managers. They start off with a beginning role, but that doesn't have to be their end all be all role. And that's not even your intention for them, is to be their end all be all. Give them a vision for where they're going to go. That way they can see themselves in your business. That is what's going to allow people to buy into your vision. They may not even start with the best salary ever, but they know that because you're building this out and they see the vision that you have for the company, you're going to build it out to the point where they're going to be taken care of even more so as you continue to build out your business. Now they're starting to see the fruits of that within yours because now they're seeing the higher roles. They're probably going to start getting compensated a little bit more because of that. Yep. So, but if you had this vision from the very beginning, you can tell that to them. Now you can start working them through the ranks, and you are not trading in your time. You're not doing all the physical labor in the business. That's so. Even with the cleaners, it was the same thing. As I don't know what roles they may have. If they have anything extra, or they may want to just be the cleaners. But now their vision can be you always will have cleanings.
Yeah, that's all they want.
You will always be able. Like you had to know what is your employees, what do they desire? It's like knowing your target audience. They just desire to make sure they have a steady stream of income coming in, but be able to cast that vision for whoever you're bringing on. Yeah. That way they know that they're going to have consistent income or they're going to have something that they can grow through. Yeah. And that's what we had to learn from this week is that if we are doing all the physical labor, we don't even have time to. We're not going. No, I said that wrong. If we're going to scale the workload before we scale the people, then we're going to essentially work ourselves to death in trade for instead of having people. So what you want, and then you're going to hit a cap. This reminded me of the E-Myth. So in the book, The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber, shout out to him. He talks about this exact thing. A business would begin to scale. Like somebody would the beginning entrepreneur, they get into their business, they start to scale, then they're going to hit a cusp at some point. That customer is going to be, what do I do? What do I do from here? I have so much business now do I want to continue to scale and I work pretty much 24 hours, or do I want to start bringing on people? A lot of people actually will scale back because they don't want to take that step and say, I'm going to reach out beyond myself. That is the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make, because it's going to make you burn out and inevitably go out of business altogether. You have to have a vision for how to bring on people, as opposed to just saying, I'm going to do all the work myself. Doing all the work yourself is going to pretty much mean that this business starts and dies with you, and it won't be able to go any further than that. If you want to build a business that's sellable, I highly advise, it's imperative that you bring on other people to work in your business and not you being the one that does everything. Yeah. So that's why the systems are so important. Have the systems and have the vision even before you have the money, and people will still come.
That's a fact. And the thing about this too is that this is applicable to everyone, because I know a lot of people are listening. It's like, I'm not even there. I wish I could hire. It's like, you can. Everyone can do this from day one. You can create systems and you can bring on people. Don't worry about making money in the beginning. That's the wrong idea.
Yep.
If you be so focused on the money that you're not gonna make anything. Focus on building a platform of systems and people that can work without you, because the money will come. I will tell you, like I said, I wasn't making any money in the beginning. I would pay any money the business would make. I pay it all to the staff, and then I pay it for marketing, and I pay for all my other platforms and tech that I got to pay for. And I barely make maybe $300 in a month from the business. Yep. That was for probably the first 6 months. It was like that. Cool, whatever, right? Finally gets to like January. The business is making $10,000 a month, right? And this was last January, January 2021. That was the first, really it was February. January is like 9,000, but let's just say January is the first $10,000 a month. I now, at that point, my systems were they were pretty like good at that time. And so, yeah, it was still me in that business at the time, but the systems were working for me, right? So that's why I said I never had to work so much in the business, because the systems will work for you, right? I'm January 2021, the business is making $10,000 a month. I'm barely taking anything out of that. This January 2022, the business makes $57,000 a month. Obviously, I make a lot more out of that. But guess what? I worked a lot less than what I did in January 2021. I worked probably 3 times less. I wasn't even working a lot then.
Right.
But I work significantly less now. And so now, the point where the business is now, I work the least amount I ever have, but I'm paying myself now the most I've ever had, the most I've ever paid myself. I've doubled officially now at this point, or once it hits May, end of April, May, I will have doubled my 9-to-5 salary from my business in terms of what I pay myself.
And you're working back in 9-to-5. You was working 40, 60 hours a week.
I was working 45 to 55 hours every week to make half of what I'm going to pay myself from my business. I'm going to pay myself double my salary to work maybe 2 hours a week. That is why I say you need systems in business. I don't say it just so I can have a catchphrase. Like this is the reason. It's important. You need to be doing this. And so if anyone's listening, you're a new entrepreneur, you're just getting started in business. We speaking from experiences, real experiences. These are things I'm telling you from the journey. This has literally been happening. So,
I love when I keep on talking about the journey. This is what I'm talking about. Is the fact that everything we're going through is documented. So we're able to share the experiences, and now we're able to continue to re-emphasize the philosophy of why everything is so important. Because when you document from day one, which a lot of people don't do, but if you do document from day one, you can bring on people, and that they can, and even if you don't, one thing I like the most about what you've done over the past couple of weeks is that you didn't even have the growth part of everything documented. But even though you don't have everything documented already, document what's most important, at least start bringing people on. Yeah. So they document what's the most vital thing to help you get out of the majority of the physical labor.
Yep.
That way you have them going, you have them running. Now this is the main reason I've been saying this all day about valuing the time versus valuing the money. When you do less physical labor, you have more time to work on the growth task of the business. The biggest growth task that you were able to work on for the past 2 weeks was setting up more SOPs for growth of the business. That is a straight growth task that nobody that you hire would be able to do.
Nope.
You had to do that, but you have the liberty and the time to do that because you chose to hire people out. The people that are saying, man, I ain't got no time to do anything. I ain't got no time to hire people. I don't have no time. Well, listen, you can't afford not to hire people because you would never be able to scale to the point where you are making twice the money that you are made from your 9 to 5 and doing no work at all because of the fact that you refuse to say, I'm going to put emphasis on hiring rather than emphasis on working the physical labor in the business. That is like pivotal to being able to grow as an entrepreneur and grow as a business owner, as opposed to just running a side hustle that you're going to continue to run until you get tired and just end the whole business.
And that is I think that concept is, it's the reason this is so important to talk about is because it's a new way of teaching or a new way of approaching entrepreneurship. It's not even a new way. It's just the way most people don't do it.
Correct.
But it's the way they should, right? Most people come with everything with the employee mindset that everything is going to be on your back. Good luck. I don't want nothing on my back. I want my back to be nice and free of scratches. This is a new way of really approaching business and entrepreneurship that a lot of people will not talk about. A lot of people love to glorify that hustle. Like, I see it literally every day and I hear it and it's just common, like, yeah, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, so, you know, I work 100 hours, I work 50, 60. And it's like, bro, unless, I'm going to say this, the only caveat is if, like, bro, if you are not building something that's going to change the world, then like, bro, I didn't build anything that's changing the world, bro. Like, it's a cool bit, it's a cleaning business. Like, I don't need to be working 100 hours a week in that. I'm not, you know, I'm not Elon Musk. That is cool. I can see you doing it then because you're doing something that nobody's ever done. I'm not doing anything anyone's never done. I just need to create systems around it. I know exactly what needs to be done. I'm not reinventing the wheel in no type of way. So to me, I don't like that conversation about that hustle culture about 70, 80, 100 hours a week in entrepreneurship because I think a lot of people, that gives them the excuse to like that this is how it should be.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm supposed to be working. Like, why? Why do you have to work that much? I don't know. Like, because I know, okay, so for you and your business, right? What would you say is the most you ever worked in a week?
Oh no, that was this week.
This week?
This week, yeah, definitely. So I think I actually did a full 9 to 5 yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, this is why I'm so adamant about it. Because this week definitely took the cake for me. This put me over the top and said.
And that's what your dad does every week?
Yeah, so he does all the physical stuff
on top of his 9 to 5.
But no, see, the problem is that it wasn't never even this bad. Because we didn't
have that many cars.
We had double the fleet
Yeah.
this week.
Right.
So that's why I said earlier, the very first thing I said was that we had a choice. Do we bring on people or do you bring on business? Most entrepreneurs are going to say, I'm going to bring more business and that's going to be able to help me fund the people. I'm telling them the opposite and say, bring on the people before you bring on a business, especially if you know that the business is going to come. All you need to do is make sure that you have the systems in place to grow the business and then bring on the people. So let them run it. And that way you have more time to actually go implement what is necessary to grow it. So like for you and your business, you had to just make sure that you know how to market your business and be able to get bookings for the cleaners. You can bring on the cleaners right now, and as long as you funneling work to them, they can continue to work for you. But if you don't have any systems built out to grow it, then that's a whole different ball game. So that's why it's important to know how to grow the business first too.
And that's so crazy though, because like, bro, in my business, maybe this is just how I am. Mm-hmm. And this is another interesting conversation. But that thought of like, let me actually go clean, that never was even, I would have not done the business, but not even because there's anything against, I mean, a part of me just, my ego also said like, I'm not going to clean houses. Like a part of it was my ego. But
no, that works out for you in this case. This is how you need to, if you move exactly like that in this situation.
But even something, let's talk about the trucking business too. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
When I started it, the first thing my mom told me was like, maybe you should go get a CDL, you know, commercial driver's license, just in case you need to go get. I'm like, no, because I'm not giving myself that opportunity to like go do, you know, labor time intensive, not moving the needle tasks in my business.
Right.
So
man, move that needle.
I never thought about that. I never actually approached it like that. And I think, you know, it's an interesting conversation because, it's an interesting concept because some people, you naturally just approach things like that, where it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Some people, I think generally most people approach it with the intent to work and do everything in it. Most people approach it with the employee mindset, right? And so you had mentioned something very interesting on our call one day, where you said that I had kind of like was a natural entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that was a very interesting thing because I never thought of that. But whenever I kind of relate it to like this whole conversation, it makes sense to me because it never was like something. The way I've approached my business and have worked very little in it, that has always been my view of it.
Yeah,
it's never been
such a textbook way of doing it. It's like, this is if you had an ideal way to do a business, this is the textbook way of doing it.
Yeah.
Approach it from the very beginning saying, I'm not finna do the physical labor.
Right.
A lot of people don't do it like that.
And that was to me, that was the, like, it was like, wow, this is not actually the common way to do things.
Not.
This is the unorthodox, abnormal way to approach it.
Unorthodox but correct way to do it.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, man, I guess I'm good with this now. I will be completely unorthodox. I'll be completely against the grain because I love making money and not working.
Yes, and that should be the goal of a business owner. Like if you go back to the fundamentals of the cash flow quadrant, a business owner is the quadrant you were trying to get into when you say entrepreneur. You're not looking to be self-employed. You're trying to be the business owner. And what do? They have a system. Whether it's software, whether it's people, whether it's the system of people working for them. That is what a business owner does. And a self-employed, you own a job. And without you in that business, then it's not gonna function.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between the two. Most people are approaching entrepreneurship as a self-employed and saying, I'm gonna be a self-employed until hopefully I bring on people. But they never really get to that point because if you scale the business and scale your workload, now your new excuse is now going to be, I have too much work to do and I don't have enough time to actually build out systems. Therefore, build out the systems in the very beginning when you have a little workload, and then start hiring out, pay them the majority of what you're making, and then continue to scale the business. All the majority of what you do day to day should be growth tasks. It should not be the busy work. Hire out the busy work from early. Pay them for doing the busy work too. That way you can stay focused on the growth task of the business. One thing, this is what took the cake for me that propelled this whole conversation. We do our payouts every 15th and the last day of the month for the payroll.
Shout out Profit First.
Yeah, shout out Profit First for that. So we do, we have both the rentals and then we also have consulting.
Right.
Consulting is based primarily, of course, on likeness, but also based on me actually doing stuff that's going to help us get income in another form. We paid ourselves $0. We had zero money that came into the consulting side for that particular 15 days, for that pay period. My dad sent the funniest message. Well, it wasn't funny for him. It wasn't funny in general. It was just funny for the message that it told me. He said, no money from consulting this week, with like these little sad eye emoji. I'm like, no, I didn't do any growth tasks. All I did was clean cars. So even though I'm not even trying to grow consulting like that was the epitome of what it looks like to say that the more physical labor I do, the less money we will make.
Right.
Because during that same time, I also thought about this. I said, the reason I was able to start putting together things to start getting partners is because I would spend time doing that. That was another growth task. That's why we're able to get cars so fast now. If I hadn't done that and I was cleaning cars all the time, we would not be at this point.
Y'all would have 2 cars.
We would have the same amount of cars that we had to end last year, and we would not be growing. The reason we are getting cars now is because of me going out to different conferences, to networking with people, and telling people what I do.
Growth and telling things nobody else can do.
This is the growth task. I'm not hire somebody and say, hey, go network. We can do that at some point, actually. But in the beginning, you have to cast a vision for where your business is going. And you have to tell people, hey, this is what we do. This is where I'm trying to get to. And this is how you can help.
Yeah.
That's a growth task. That is not a busy task. Busy task is going to do you're going to get the same result every single month in and month out. You're going to log in the same 10,000 a month from 10 cars, and you're not going to grow anything because of the fact that you are doing all the physical labor. Pay somebody else to do the physical labor. That's why I'm very glad. I think this is probably one of the most fortunate things with my business is that me and my dad came in together. He's doing most of the busy tasks. He's not going to be somebody who does the growth tasks by nature. Yeah, we could train him on doing that, but that's not his. But he would much rather just do like the cleaning cars and stuff. That means I can keep my time liberated in that aspect, And so it's somewhat the equivalent to hiring somebody else out and paying them for their time.
No, but you brought in a complimentary person, which is what we always say. It's like, don't bring in people because of proximity.
That was very true.
You bring in people, even though that was your dad, so it was proximity. But he just happened to be complimentary as well, to where he's okay. Because if you brought me in, it's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yes.
We would both be doing growth tasks. So it's like, now it's tough.
Hopefully it grows faster, but you got to bring in some third person now.
Yeah.
Say, hey, somebody bring them cars.
Exactly. So that's a very interesting thing that you brought that up.
Yeah. So, and like I said, this is like the first week that I've ever had to really do all of the physical labor. That's why I'm like, oh yeah, we can't do this. So it's a must. Like even like, and always be continuously bringing in more people to, like, even if one person takes a vacation, it should not fall back on you.
Yeah.
Like, be able to have multiple people that's running the business. So like I never had noticed it to that level until this week when I had to do all the work. And that's why I say I'm glad that I went through it. So now this is a foreshadowing for anybody else that's running their business. And it's like in the very beginning phases, focus on the growth tasks of the business. Do not focus in on all the physical labor. Learn the systems of the physical labor if you need to. And I don't know about you, like with the cleaning, but you should at least have a concept of like how everything should go on the physical side. That way you can delegate all of those tasks, and now you can focus in on what grows the business, as opposed to spending all of your time and growing and having less time to put it towards the growth because your business is growing at the same time, and you don't have anybody else to take on that extra work.
Right. And this is why it's so business specific. Because like you said, me with the cleaning, it's like that is not even a part of my business. Like, the cleaning is like what the customers get, but that has nothing to do with my business.
Right.
The only time cleaning comes into consideration in my business is when we're hiring and I need to know that you've cleaned. Right. So that becomes part of my systems for hiring and interviewing. It's knowing their experiences. So now my interview scripts become really cater to knowing their experiences, so that I don't need to worry too much about the systems on the cleaning. I don't know nothing about cleaning anyways.
I got a whole revelation off of that. When you say that you'd own a consulting service or like a brokerage service, that is legit your business.
Yes, that's what it is.
Your business is not cleaning.
No, it's not. It's a marketing company, if anything.
You are definitely a marketing. Like, the people that you're hiring have nothing to do with the actual cleaning of the houses.
No.
You are contracting that work out. It's like you are the middleman, where like, they have their own system for cleaning the house. You make sure they're credible. But
exactly.
that's pretty much the gist of your involvement with the cleaning aspect of it.
And so I can maintain a high standard as a cleaning company if I have high standards in my hiring.
Correct.
That's where now I focus on that. Figure out what's the actual root. The root is not the cleaning. I don't know nothing about cleaning no ways. Like, sometimes customers will ask about things that are like cleaning when I would take calls. I'm like, to be honest, I would just have to like BS them because I don't know nothing about cleaning, because that's not what my focus was on. I'm gonna send someone to your house that knows about it.
Right.
Don't worry about it right now. I'm just know somebody's gonna get there, right? And so it's kind of like I love these new disruption businesses like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, because it's the same concept where like, their staff has nothing to do with the service that they provide. Their staff is just to manage the systems, right? Uber staff that they have in-house has nothing to, they don't manage, they don't do nothing with cars or vehicles. They manage the systems. Airbnb don't do nothing with how their staff, right? At the Airbnb offices, they don't do nothing about, they're not looking at the houses to see, oh, does this house have this? No, they're managing the systems of the platform, right? They're managing the systems of the customer service, because the customers look at it as like, oh, that's Airbnb. The customers don't know better. So like, you have to have systems for the customer service, but the actual service you're providing, and a lot of times, this is why I love my business, because it's a very this is when I say it's a very streamlined, scalable business, because I don't need to focus on the actual thing that is the thing that people are getting, because that's a whole nother set of problems. Yeah. When I had to worry about products, types of things, I don't know nothing about that.
I was about to say, does anywhere in your SOP say what type of products to use?
Not once. It don't have nothing about a mop. It don't got nothing. And people will say it's a cleaning company, but it's not.
It's not. That was like a revelation right there. I hope y'all caught that. That was huge.
But that's why I always say that.
Yes, you do. Like, I don't know, it just clicked a certain different way this time. I'm like, yo, I know that SOP has nothing about a mop, like you said. They don't have a cleaner product in there.
I don't know nothing about that.
So, man, that's good. But I just want to reemphasize the same thing all over again. build your systems early on.
Oh yeah, that's what.
That was
real quick. Let me, because I want to add, because that's what the original point was. That should be your main focus, not that other stuff, like that busy stuff. Like from day one, you start your business, you need to be already writing your systems, like getting your. So I think we say SOPs a lot, and I always hear people say, "What are SOPs?" Like comment. I'm like, dang, I guess people don't know. Standard operating procedures, right? So it's essentially the rules that your businesses will follow, and those are the things that is the most valuable task that you have from day one. Now, granted, to the extent where like I'm an advocate of doing things yourself so you can know how it's done, but not for long, for long, right? When it comes to that physical stuff, right? And very briefly, like I need to be the time I'm spending doing that needs to be spent creating systems, duplicating myself. Those systems, they become valuable. Man, they become valuable. That is why McDonald's is so valuable. That is why all these companies are so valuable, because they have systems that are documented. They document everything about the business. Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
No, but I'm glad you added that, because that goes back to the same point of you may even want to do the work just to be familiarized with what you're documenting in the first place. Like you need to know what to document. Right. So in the very beginning, like even you're taking the calls. Now you have scripts of what to say.
I had to take the calls.
You have to take them in the beginning. I had to. So you may not be doing the contracted work. Like that's a whole separate, because it's two different businesses.
Yeah, that's a whole.
You're not building that business.
I don't want that business.
You're building the marketing business.
Right.
Having to know the systems that are in place for that, or like document those systems. So of course your SOPs are not going to involve the cleaning side of it.
Nope.
So from the very beginning, now you're saying, okay, what do I do day to day as a marketing company? I need to make sure I know what the website says and be able to point people in the right direction to see, like, this is what the services that we offer. And when you answer calls, this is how you point them in the right direction, things like that. Document those type of things. That way, that when you bring somebody on, all you do is just train them, be like, hey, the way that we do business, this is our job, our roles and responsibilities. This is your list of responsibilities. And now you can do that. And now they do that. Yeah. You pay them for their time. The money that you would be paying yourself, pay them. Yep. That way your time stays free. You have to value time more than money. I'm gonna keep saying that. Hopefully somebody's catching it. Value your time more than money, especially in the beginning.
Stop trying to make money.
If you're trying to make the money early on, you're going to inevitably have to spend more time, because you're not giving away the money to let somebody else keep your time free.
Right. Because the money will come. Because think about it. If I spend the money to keep my time free, now I keep doing that. Eventually it gets to a point where I'm making more than it costs me to keep my time free.
Exactly.
And so now I take that surplus, and you can continue to scale that. Your time is limited. And so early on, like in my business, the most of my time was spent taking calls. I had to do that, cool. But it got to a point, I probably did it. I would say, honestly, I did it for about a year. Mm-hmm. And it's not even because like I didn't want to hire. It's because I really needed to know that, because that's the crux of my business. Like I did that for a year. I took close to 1,000 calls before I hired my first ops manager. Like it was a lot. And but you can believe the SOPs for calls and taking and the scripts and stuff for that are tens of hundreds of pages for that alone, because it's so in detail. But now, and then when it got to a point where I hire people, my biggest thing became training them on that specific task, right? The 80-20 rule. 80% of the results are going to come from 20% of the efforts. That was my 20. Right. That 80% came from. Like everything else was like the hiring now, that's like a whole nother thing. But early on, that was the thing. And so now it took, my staff did that for 4 months, and I listened to their calls, and I was training them for 2 months on that before I said, cool, you're good. You can go do it. Now they do it on their own. Obviously it's cool. But guess what? I never have to do that again. Because now I did it, my systems documented it, two other people did it. Now guess who trains the next people that do it? Not me. Those two people train them.
And this right here is the most important part. Like I said, you don't have to have every single system documented. Document the most pivotal one that's going to free up the most of your time. That way, while they're doing all the work that you would normally be doing, build out the next system.
Yeah. Exactly.
So now you can be building out the system so once they are doing the physical labor, they're learning the system. Now during the simultaneously, you're building out a system to say, this is how you train the people that we're going to hire next. So now once they are familiarized with it, they're ready for the next level. You'd be like, hey, I already got a system for you. Now this is how you do the next part.
Right.
Because you freed up your, so that, I want to say that I'm saying this because this is why you're freeing up your time. It's not, always have a goal in mind for why you're doing everything. So if you hire out all of the actual labor, we're freeing up our time, but we're freeing up our time for a purpose, not just so we can sit back and relax. That's coming. But we got to make sure that we have every single thing in the business documented, have every single thing in the business have a procedure for doing everything. That way, the people that you're bringing up throughout the business, they can do the next thing for you. So that means you got to do less and less and less. And at some point, like you said, this past couple of weeks, now you have everything documented, because over time you kept on just passing off more and more stuff. Now you have the point where you can just hire somebody or bring up somebody to the point where they can now grow your business. Because at first they were just operating, but see, you always had your time free. So now you can continue to work on more and more things, the growth task of the business that's going to allow you to be able to exit all the way out. It's a whole journey in itself that you got to be able to see from day. If you see it from day one, it's going to expedite your process to be able to get to the end result.
Yeah. And that's going back to what we said earlier. It's about faith with works. That's what it really was for me. It's like, that was my works.
Yeah.
And I just keep doing this, keep documenting, keep hiring. And eventually the business will keep growing. And now it's going to keep growing without you, without me. And it becomes a well-oiled machine where I don't do anything, but I see more and more money come every month. And that ultimately should be the goal of everyone's business.
Yes, sir.
Get out of this 180, 70 hour a week mindset that people glorify with entrepreneurship. I don't know why that is such a thing. I mean, I know why, because everyone approaches it as an employee, but man, I just thank God that, he gave us a different vision. So, and a different mentality, and we just are passing that to you all. So that is that conversation. I think that was a fantastic conversation.
I better see some new comments in the review section talking about that was my new favorite episode. I've seen it a couple times, and I think it's becoming more of a theme now. So hopefully we get a little bit better.
Right. So what we'll do now before we wrap up the show is we got asked the Monopolizers.
Dang.
I hope we got some questions. I know we had some in there.
I feel like we do.
I didn't. I saw a couple, but let's get into that.
How can I be successful? How can I follow the path that someone else has laid for me to be successful?
Ask the Monopolizers.
So we got a question from Sade Davis on Instagram. She asks about, I feel like mental health is not talked about enough when it comes to men. I want to know if y'all ever struggle with mental health. If so, how did y'all work to improve your mental health? Oh, you look at me first.
I mean, I guess I can't. Mental health. This is not something that I generally, just being honest, I have not struggled with that in the way I think a lot of people generally do in terms of depression, but it's just not something I've personally dealt with. But what I can say is that I think a lot of people deal with anxiety. Generally just about, especially with entrepreneurship and with men in general, because there's an expectation that, you, especially today with social media and how you see people making all this money doing this stuff. And if you're not doing that, you can feel really bad about yourself. And, I think the important thing to know with that is that I don't like using cliches, but everyone's timeline and journey is really different. And I know that can be tough because it's out there, you're seeing it, but just really understand that when your time, if you continue, like I said before, faith with works, you continue putting in work and you continue doing what you're supposed to do, it will come. And it's going to come a lot sooner than you actually think. There's so much information out here. If you're consuming the right thing, you will get to that level. And so, yeah, that I would, that is probably the closest extent I've ever really dealt with that, just in the sense of maybe a little bit of comparison or something, but it has never been something that has actively played a toll in my life or has played an effect on me personally.
So yeah, I thought a couple things with this one. I'm trying to make sure I remember everything, but one thing I think is really beneficial is that I think one thing you hit on that I want to comment back on is the fact that you see a lot of people that are quote unquote have it all figured out. That's going to be the common thing that a lot of people feel when they look at social media. People are giving you a glance, like a 1 minute or 20 second, whatever, short term glance at what the best part of their life looks like, but they're not showing you the rest of it.
Highlights.
Yeah, they're showing you the highlights of it, of their life. But I'll be transparent for a second. I showed on social media that we grew from 10 cars to 19 cars, and we had 4 more on the way. That's all true. That was the fun part. What y'all didn't see was the 9 to 5 I worked the very next day to go make sure that all the cars were cleaned, to make sure everything was good as far as actually running the business of it all, because we have nobody to run it. I'll say that to say everybody's going to show you the best part about them. So first of all, don't take everything at face value and just think that that's they have everything figured out, because they're still going through they're going through their own journey. Like Alex said, everybody has a different timeline at the same time. And it's all about what I think is the best thing that we've done is that you find an environment of people that you can talk to that's kind of going on a journey with you. We have a guys group that we talk to every single Tuesday. I think that alone has done wonders for sanity, because of the fact that we literally have a whole session where we just talk about how are you doing. Make sure you surround yourself with people that can just help you out sometimes, because each one of us, man. Yes, each one of us have come to that call one time being like, bro, it's not the day. This night has been a week for me, and we have and they literally are there to help us out. And each and every one of us, I've had it some days, Alex has had it some days, the other guys have had it, and we're able to continue to build with one another. Find you a group of people that you can just be vulnerable with. Like, I think that's very big, even though people may not like to talk about that as much. Be able to just say, yo, I don't have it all figured out. I need help. And that is the fastest way to be able to get some help, is just by acknowledging and being around people that in a safe space where you can actually talk about anything that you need to, and that you can get it off your chest. Because what's the biggest problem with mental health is that you're holding everything up here, holding everything inside your brain and not telling anybody else about it, because you see things in one way. But that's because there was a saying, what was it? It was like, in life, there is no bad or good. It's just, everything just is. But you may perceive things as bad or good. And if you're perceiving everything in a bad way, then that's going to affect your overall mental health. So what you need to do is just get it outside of yourself and go to people that have an outside perspective, because they may give you something completely different than how you were looking at it, because you're just staying inside your own mind for so long and you're telling yourself all these different things. You may just need to just find a group of people that can help you out in those situations just by giving you an outside perspective. Find somebody you can trust and be able to relay information with them.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's real stoicism, man. That has been great, and I would highly recommend everyone, especially men, to really find that, because a lot of men feel they can't. Because she asked specifically about men, and I know a lot of men feel they can't, talk about how they're doing, and they don't have literally anyone to ask how they're doing, and that is that could be tough. So really try to find somebody. Get with a group of people. It doesn't have to be a group. Find some people that you can really trust, that you can just talk to about how you're actually doing, and be able to get your emotions out there on the table, and just be able to talk about it, because just talking about it helps. It helps free up some of that mental energy you were using storing it up. So yeah, man, I hope that helps, Sade. And that is Ask the Monopolizers. So if you have any questions for us, just hit us on IG at Money Monopolizers. Hit the DMs, and we will answer those questions on the show. So we will wrap up the show with our last segment real quick, which will just be take it or leave it.
We gave you the game. You can take it or leave it.
So my final takeaway for this show, if you don't have it by now, then might need to go re-listen. But I would honestly say a lot of people, you're new to business. A lot of people, you're in business, but you have never approached business as an entrepreneur. You've always approached it as an employee, and you got into this mentality that you had to hustle. And like I said, if you're not building something that's going to revolutionize the world, that is not what you need to be doing. You need systems. Let your systems hustle and go hire people. Stop worrying about making so much money. You already were making money before you started a business. Keep doing that. and let the business grow. Let the business grow. Take all the money, reinvest it back into hiring. Hire people before, pay other people before you pay yourself. That has been the best thing for me, for my business, and it's going to continue. That is the whole reason any successful business is successful, is because there's no solopreneur out there. Show me the Facebook-sized business that's run with one person. Exactly. There's not one out there. Show me a business that makes $1 million a year that can run with one person.
Not possible.
Not even, $1 million ain't even a lot. That ain't nothing. I mean,
you're gonna run yourself dry trying to do that. Just think about it. It's $83,000 a month. $83,333 a month. Imagine, because you still got a little ways to go to get to that point. Imagine still doing everything yourself though.
Come on, man.
Imagine not having the cleaners and then trying to.
Come on, man. Like, I would rather work a 9 to 5. It's less work, and I probably would make the same amount. So, I wouldn't even get to the 80. I don't have enough time in my life. So correct. You get capped out.
Yep. But there's only so much one person can do.
Exactly. So that's my takeaway.
My takeaway, I'm gonna say it again. Value your time more than you value your money. For people who value money more than time, you'll probably make less of it overall, versus the person who values their time more. Because it's like we heard earlier, Alex will be paying himself twice as much working 20 minutes a week versus
dead ass
working 40 hours to 45 to 55, making half that. When you value your time more than you value money, you're gonna make way more. But you had to have a long-term vision though. You had to be able to know your vision, share it with other people to bring them on, and then now you can continue to grow the vision and continue to execute on the vision, because now you're growing the business rather than working inside of it.
Yeah, and it'll happen a lot sooner than you think if you really do this. Facts. I promise. A lot of people saw what happened in my business, like, man, it happened quick. This is why.
That's 1,000% why.
So, yeah, that is it. When is y'all's first staff member coming on, by the way?
I am making this, I'm proclaiming this right now. Next time we record, we're going to have at least 2 staff members.
Okay.
Next time we record, just how you said last time, we are going to have 2 staff members before we record again. Okay. So it's been good. Solopreneur Marlon.
It's over.
It's over. This will be the last. Just put it in the books. This has lit a fire under my butt. And I promise you, we will have somebody moving forward.
There you go. Well, that is it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we'd appreciate if you rated us 5 stars. Get us to 300 reviews on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more info about us on IG at Money Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out of here. Double salary for 20 minutes. That's dead ass.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.